Hello students, this is the continuation of the first video, chapter 7, Baking by Jerome K. Jerome from Beehive textbook in English for class 9. So in the first video, we had done up to number 8, that is page number 85. From page number 85, you will find that portion. So we had done up to number 8. We had seen this how Harry's and George they baked the hampers. So Harris baked the strawberry jam on top of a tomato and squash it, and they had to pick out the tomato with a teaspoon. So squash means squeezed. Okay, so this George and Harris didn't know how to bake the hampers. So in this way they baked the hampers, and we all know at that time the writer or the author was sitting and was watching them. Okay, so now let's see number 9. Let me read the text. And then it was George's turn, and he trod on the butter. I didn't say anything, but I came over and sat on the edge of the table and watched them. So next is it was George's turn, and George he trod on the butter. Trod means he stepped. Okay, he stepped on the butter. The writer saw this, but he didn't say anything. Just he came over and he sat on the edge of the table and watched them. So you can see the picture there how the writer is sitting there and watching this George and Harris baking the hampers. Now this is the picture. Okay, now next. It irritated them more than anything I could have said. I felt that. It made them nervous and excited, and they stepped on things and put things behind them, and they couldn't find them when they wanted them, and they backed the bice at the bottom and put heavy things on top and smashed the bice in. So the writer didn't say anything, he was just watching them, but by watching them he could understand that they were irritated. Okay, they felt so nervous as well as they were excited, and so they were baking the things and they were putting the things behind them also, and later on they could not find them. Whenever they wanted to put it in the hampers, they could not find the things, and they baked the bice at the bottom, and on top of it they put heavy things on top. Okay, and they smashed the bice. So this is how they did the baking. Now number 10, they upset salt over everything, and as for the butter, I never saw two men do more with 1 and 2 pence worth of butter in my whole life than they did. After George had got it off his slipper, they tried to put it in the kettle. It wouldn't go in, and what was in wouldn't come out. They did scrape it out at last and put it down on a chair, and Harris sat on it, and it stuck to him, and they went looking for it all over the room. So this is a very humorous part, which is very funny. So they upset salt over everything. Upset means they had put all over. Okay, they had put the salt all over the things. And for the butter, this Harris and George, okay, the writer says that he had never seen two men, okay, working on it in such a funny way. Okay, so this George, he took out the butter. Okay, he took out the this Harris, he took out the butter and he kept it. He took out from the kettle. First they tried to put it in the kettle, that butter, okay, but it wouldn't go in, and later on, okay, it went inside, and now they couldn't take out from there, and at last they could able to take out and put it on a chair. And what happened next? Harris sat on it and it stuck to him, but this Harris also didn't know, whereas George also didn't know that it was stuck on that Harris. Okay, and they went on looking for the butter all over the room. So this is what the writer had seen. He knew it, but he didn't tell anything to them. He was just sitting and he was watching them, and he wanted to find out, okay, how they will be, how they would do the packing in the hampers. Now, number 11, I'll take my oath. I put it down on the chair, said George, staring at the empty seat. I saw you do it myself not a minute ago, said Harris. Then they stared around the room again looking for it, and then they met again in the center and stared at one another. Most extraordinary thing I ever heard of, said George. So mysterious, said Harris. Then George got round at the back of Harris and saw it. Why, here it is all the time, he exclaimed indignantly. Okay, now what is meant by mysterious? Mysterious means difficult to understand. Indignantly means angry. Okay, angry. So now they were trying to find out the butter because they couldn't find the butter. They had to bake it in the hamper, but they could not find. So this George was very sure that he took out from the kettle and he had kept on the chair, but the chair is empty. So he don't know where the butter had gone. And also Harris also says that yes, he also had seen the butter there on the chair. So they kept on searching around the room again, okay, looking for the butter. So searching and searching the butter, okay, they met again in the center and they stared at one another. They could not find the butter. So it was very strange. It was very strange. So mysterious, said Harris. So mysterious means it's very difficult to understand how the butter has been kept on the chair and how come the butter had gone is found missing. So this Harris could not understand and he found it he felt very strange. So this George at last got round at the back of Harris and at last saw the butter which was stuck on his buttock, okay, at his back. So lastly he exclaimed very angrily, okay, and he said, yes, here it is, okay, the butter. At last they could able to find out the butter. Where? Cried Harris, spinning round. Stand still, can't you? Roared George, flying after him. So why is George roaring? Roaring means, okay, here it talks about his anger because they had been searching for a long time, okay, for the butter around the room. They could not find, and at last he could able to find it, okay, at the back of that Harris. And so George was angry and he told him to stand still, not to move around, okay, so that he can take out the butter. Flying after him, which means just going next to him to remove the butter from his back. And they got it off and back it in the teapot. Then later on, they backed the butter in the teapot. Now, number 12. Montmorency was in it all, of course. Montmorency's ambition in life is to get in the way and be sworn at. If he can squirm in anywhere where he particularly is not wanted and be a perfect nuisance and make people mad and have things thrown at his head, then he feels his day has not been wasted. Now, squirm means to twist one's body, okay? And be sworn. Be sworn at means here get scolded. Okay, get scolded. Now you can see the picture there. There is another character present there, okay? That is the dog, okay? So you have found a name called Montmorency, okay? Montmorency is none other than that a dog. This is the name of the dog, okay? So Montmorency was there, and Montmorency's ambition in life, okay? This is a humorous story, okay? So it is written in a humorous way, okay? That we feel funny, okay? So Montmorency's ambition in life is to disturb, okay? Is to go and involve himself, okay? And get scolded or get beaten, got it? So that is his ambition. So he can, if he, okay, now here to get in the way and be sworn at. Sworn at means to get scolding. And if he can squirm in anywhere, anywhere means twisting his body, okay, moving around and trying to interfere others when he is not needed, okay. So that this very dog Montmorency will go and interfere the people, interfere them, okay. And so what will he receive? He will receive scolding, he will receive a nice beating, okay, he will get punishment, okay. This is his ambition, okay, ambition. And he, after that only, he keeps quiet. So he makes people mad, okay, angry at him. and out of anger, others will throw things at his head. Okay, and now this Montmorency, at that time only, he feels that his day is not wasted. He will just sit quietly in one of the corner, and he will just sit quietly without disturbing them. And at that time, Montmorency feels satisfied. To get somebody to stumble over him and curse him steadily for an hour is his highest aim and object, and when he has succeeded in accomplishing this, his conceit becomes quite unbearable. So conceit means here is pride in himself. Now, when does Montmorency feels proud of himself? That is, we all know this Montmorency ambition is to disturb others, to get scolding, and to get beating from others, right? So he will also twist his body. He will involve himself, okay, and he will let others stumble over him, and then others they will curse on him and they will beat him, okay, and while doing so, after succeeding, after accomplishing this, now this Montmorency will become very proud. He will feel very proud and he will sit quietly. He came and sat down on things just when they were wanted to be backed, and he labored under the fixed belief that whenever Harris or George reached out their hand for anything, it was his goal to damned nose that they wanted. He put his leg into the jam, and he worried the teaspoons, and he pretended that the lemons were reds, and got into the hamper, and killed 3 of them before Harris could land him with a frying pan. Okay, now this is again another humorous part. Okay, now number 13. So this Montmorency, he means Montmorency. Okay, Montmorency, we all know this George and Harris. Okay, they are quite busy in packing the hamper, the big basket. So Montmorency, he came and he sat down on the things which they are baking. Okay, so he will come and sit on the things whenever they wanted to put it, okay, whenever they wanted to bag, this Montmorency will come and sit there, and this Harris and George, whenever they reach out their hand, okay, to get the things, this Montmorency will interfere them. How? That is, this Montmorency, he will let them touch his damned nose, cold damned nose. Okay, he will let them touch his gold damned nose, and then he will put his leg into the jam, and again he will he will play with the teaspoons, and he will also pretend, okay, he will pretend himself that the lemons were reds. He pretended that the lemons were reds, and he will start chasing the reds. Okay, he will try to play with the lemons, pretending that those lemons are reds, and he will get into the hamper and he will kill 3 of them. Kill 3 of them doesn't mean, okay, now these are not reds, okay, these are just lemons, but the Montmorency, that is the dog, he pretended that the lemons were reds, okay, and so he started playing with the lemons and killed 3 of them before that, okay, before Harris could land him with the frying pan. Now this is another part, okay. This Harris got so angry that he took the frying pan and he hit the Montmorency with that. You can see the picture, okay, from here, okay. See, you see he is holding a frying pan, right, and the dog is disturbing them. Yes, all these things are on the floor, okay, they haven't finished their baking, but Montmorency is coming. Montmorency had come and disturbed them, and so now he hit that Montmorency with the frying pan. Okay, so this is the picture. Okay, now you see number 14. So after this, Montmorency said quietly, because it is his ambition, right? So his ambition, it was successful. He got beating from Harris, and now Montmorency said quietly. Now number 14, Harris said, I encouraged him. I didn't encourage Harry said, I encouraged him. I didn't encourage him. A dog like that doesn't want any encouragement. It's the natural original sin that is born in him that makes him do things like that. The baking was done at 12:50 and Harry sat on the big hamper and said he hoped nothing would be found broken. George said that if anything was broken, it was broken, which reflection seemed to comfort him. He also said he was ready for bed. We were all ready for bed. Harris was to sleep with us that night and we went upstairs. Reflection means thought. So by seeing the behavior of this dog, okay, the Harry said, okay, I encouraged him. That means he supported the dog. That dogs are almost like that. But I means the narrator, okay, the writer didn't, okay, Jerome, he didn't encourage. He says that dogs are like, okay, dogs doesn't want any encouragement because it is their natural, okay, that is this is what he says, original sin that is born in him and that makes him to do like this. Okay, so the baking was done at 12:50 and Harris sat on the big hamper, and then he was hoping that nothing would be found broken. But George said that if anything was broken, that it was broken. There is nothing to do with that. So this thought, okay, this thought came to him and it comforted him also. Okay, so he was ready for bed, and they were all ready for bed. We were all ready. We means including the writer, that is Jerome. Okay, so they were about to take rest because early in the morning they were about to go for a trip. So Harris was to sleep with them that night, and they all went, three of them went upstairs. Now number 15. We dozed for beds and Harris had to sleep with me, he said. Do you prefer the inside or the outside, J? J means Jerome, okay? I said I generally prefer to sleep inside a bed. Harry said it was odd. George said, what time shall I wake you fellows? Harry said, 7. I said, no, 6, because I wanted to write some letters. So this they dose, okay? They did a lottery, okay, for beds, and this Harry's had to sleep with Jerome, the writer. Okay, so Jerome, this Harris asked Jerome which side, okay, which side of the bed he would want to sleep. Then he responded saying that he generally prefer to sleep inside a bed. Okay, so this is about, okay, the decision, how they will be, okay, which side he would want to sleep. Now at that time, George, okay, keep it in your mind, Harris and Jerome, both of them, they slept, okay, they were about to sleep together in one bed. Okay, so at that time George came and asked them at what time they would wake them up. So Harry said 7, but the writer, that is Jerome, okay, he told him that 6 because he wanted to wake up early as he wanted to write some letters, so he want to wake up early. So now the time is different. One said 7, one said 6. So Harris and I had a bit of a row over it, but at last split the difference and said 6:30. So both of them, the timing was, there was a difference, okay, one said 7 and the narrator, okay, that is Jerome, said 6. So there was a little bit, okay, split, okay, or differences. So they made it 6:30, that is 6:30, not 7 or not 6, but it was done 6:30. So wake us up, okay, wake us at 6:30, George, we said. So they fixed the time, that is 6:30. George made no answer, and we found on going over that he had been asleep for some time, for we placed the bed where we could tumble into it on getting out in the morning and went to bed ourselves. So when they responded saying 6:30, okay, they told them to wake them up at 6:30, George did not answer. So what they did, they went and checked out, okay, why he was not answering. Then what they found that George had already had been asleep for some time. So now they wanted to play a prank on him. So what they did was that this Harris and Jerome, okay, Jerome, that is the narrator, the writer, okay, they placed the bed. Bed means bucket, okay. They filled water, okay? They filled water in that bucket or a tub, and they put it there just below, okay, just next to his bed, so that he could, okay, tumble into it. Tumble means he could fall. Tumble means fall, okay? So that he could tumble when he wake, okay, when he wakes up in the morning, he will put down his leg and he will, okay, he will tumble, he will fall into it, okay, in the morning. So they wanted to play a prank on this George. So they did it in that way, okay? So they placed a bucket of water just next to his bed in order to fool him. And after that, this both of them, Harris and this Jerome K. Jerome, they went to bed to sleep. So this is the last part, okay, of this very story. This is an extract from Three Men in a Boat. This is a novel, okay? So this incident or this short description about Jerome K. Jerome, George, again, Harris, okay? This is from an extract from Three Men in a Boat, okay, from that novel. So this is the explanation of this lesson, baking. Okay, it's very simple. Go through the text. If you find any difficult words, make use of your dictionary. You will be able to understand well. Thank you.